Hey everybody, today we're doing part 2 of our 3-part series on fence building. If you watched part 1, it was all about setting the posts and getting a perfect foundation for your fence. And today, I'm going to be focusing on building the actual fence, so stay tuned. First things first, we got to figure out where to start building our fence. I recommend that you always go to the highest point, and then you work your way down. It makes things much simpler. First tips I like to use is putting a board underneath the end of your first beam. When this goes on, it gives you ground clearance so that the beam's not resting on the dirt, and make sure that you won't be putting your fence in the dirt when you build it. Next thing, we lift up the other end and we just make sure it's level, and then draw a pencil line up the side of the board, take it over the saw, and now we can cut it. So after every cut, we got to make sure that we put cut and seal on the ends to retreat those fresh pieces of wood. Our next step is putting in the top rail. What we need to do is measure from the bottom of the bottom rail and mark 6 feet on the post. This is going to indicate where the top of the top rail will go. Because we're using a 6-foot fence board, now we won't have to make any cuts. I'm installing a temporary ledger here to help me hold the board. Because I'm working by myself today, this is a handy trick to run with. So now I'm marking a mid-rail. I'm going to use a 2x4 to go across the middle of the fence to act as a mid-brace that'll give more structure to the fence boards. Now repeat this process for the rest of your fence, putting a bottom, top, and mid-rail in every section. When it comes to boarding the fence, I like to use a jig. This makes your process a lot faster and easier and keeps everything even and concise. So now with a T-jig, what I can do is I can rest the 2x4 on the top of the 2x6 top rail. It'll come down plumb, and I can see that this will be my space between each fence board. So I install my first board against the post, and then I slip this in between it, and then I work my way across. Now that we've completed boarding the one side of the fence, we'll go to the other side and repeat the process, offsetting the boards so that we can create privacy. One of our final steps to building a fence is going to be putting the top cap on between our sections. This is going to protect the end grains of all of our fence boards. We're almost done. Last thing to do, cut off the tops of our posts and cap them off. That concludes part 2 of our 3-part series on how to build a fence. Stay tuned, as in part 3, I'm going to show you how to add some style.